So I got a great question from my buddy Steven. Basically, he sent me an email. He said that he has a pretty good bottom game, but says that his top game's lacking. Said on top, he just doesn't feel comfortable. He doesn't feel like he has the pressure on top, and says that it's just people knock him back over, and he just can't maintain it. So he can't get his passing game going, and he can't stay on top, and asked if I had any tips on how to improve that. So first off, Steven, thanks for the question. And let me start by saying that I've had tons of students that are like you, right, where they get in the gym and they naturally favor being on the bottom at first, right? They're on the bottom, that's where they feel comfortable. And first off, the biggest thing is that you have to change your mindset, man. And I'm gonna start with that before I get into the other tip. And the reason I say that is because it is so easy. If you are naturally a bottom player, when you're on top, it is naturally just so easy to sit back to your hips and lay back and lock your legs around someone's waist and then play that game. It's just so easy, right? It's much easier than fighting and planting your feet and driving back into the person and maintaining that top position. It's much tougher, right? Because that expends a lot of energy. Playing a top game, being on top, passing is exhausting if you're not used to it. And so you're probably running into that a lot, right? Because it's easier to sit back. So you have to change your mindset. You know, I could read by the email that you sent me, I could tell you're not really comfortable. You're not really confident in your ability to play from the top, and you really have to start changing sort of the verbiage that you use in your head. Because if you step on the mat and you're like, man, I'm not gonna hit this pass, or I suck from top position, I do all this stuff, right? If you step on the mat and that's the verbiage that you're telling yourself, then of course you're not going to make anything happen from the top, because again, you've already stepped on the mat, you're done, you're cooked, you're defeated before you even get through into the roll, right? You're already done. You could have all the techniques, all the concepts, all the DVDs, all the everything in front of you and know all of it, but if you don't believe that you can do it, it's not happening. So here's what I'd say first: change your attitude. When you step on the mat, you need to first, like, again, give yourself a little mental pep talk. Talk to yourself in your head. When you step on the mat, say, I'm passing someone's guard today. When you step on the mat, say, I'm not getting swept. I'm gonna just maintain position. It's not about even, and, you know, it doesn't even have to be about the pass. The first part of it should be just trying to stay on top. Just get down there, keep pressure on the person. You know, something that I would tell the guys, we used to have this crazy wrestler in the gym, right? And the way that I would tell my bottom players, right, is say, listen, like, what would he do? How would he react? Because he's this crazy top pressure wrestler, and when, you know, you push away, he would drive back into you. I was like, be that guy. Okay? Instead of being like who you are normally, be that guy. So attitude is everything. Change your attitude, change your mindset on the way that you're approaching your passing first. Second, limit yourself to that position. I naturally favored being on top because I was a wrestler, so being on the bottom was very uncomfortable for me. It's basically a switch up of the position. And something that happened was eventually, when I was training about 6 months in, my coach realized that my bottom game is terrible. So he's like, Chewy, you don't get to be on top when we start rolling. So every time I would start a roll, he would put me on my back inside the guard. If I wanted to be on top, I had to get the sweep. If I wanted to get a submission, I had to, you know, get it from the bottom every single time for like 3 months. And first I had the defeated attitude just like you had. Eventually it clicked in my head that I couldn't step on the mat, defeated before I even got there, and I had to really go after it. And obviously it's not an instant change, but over time it made a big difference, and I was able to start getting some momentum going from my, you know, bottom position. I was able to develop a good guard game. So limit yourself. Talk to your coach. Say, hey man, you know, is it possible for me to, you know, start from top position every time I roll? If he's not okay with that, then, you know, like sweep and get to that position. And when you do get on top, right, just think to yourself, man, I'm gonna hold this position, I'm gonna pass from this position, whatever. If you have any open mats available to you, like at your gym, get a couple buddies and go to an open mat and work on your guard passing game. Drill your guard passes, do all these things, right? You need to focus on what is uncomfortable in order to improve it. So, attitude, limit yourself to that position, and obviously drill and all that other stuff. But those 2 tips I think will go a long way. Steven, I hope that helps in your quest to become a stronger top pressure passer type game jiu-jitsu practitioner.